Is going on, everybody? BRICKBUILDER here. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Minecraft Pocket Edition Guild SMP, and today we're gonna get started here with what we did in the last episode. We built this garden, okay, and the garden has a little bit of a functional use as well, in that it's gonna become a chicken pen. But I have some eggs here we need to throw, and hopefully we get a second chicken. We got a second chicken, so we got 3 chickens. Okay, that's awesome, because now we can start breeding those once they grow up, which is good because we need to get a ton of chickens inside of here. I think that's going to be an ultimate goal of ours, is to turn that into a nice chicken farming place. It's just going to help us a ton as far as farming up like chickens and eggs and stuff like that. It's just going to be a good food source as well. Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there is a slightly different texture pack on here in comparison to all the previous episodes. It's a thing that Mojang is trying out. I don't know. We're going to go ahead and use it, though, basically, is the gist of it. So if some textures are slightly different, that is why, but it's a-okay with me. I don't really mind. They don't look bad or anything. So let's go ahead and get started, because what we're doing today for realsies is we're actually going to be building another house, okay? We're building another house right over here. So if you guys do enjoy, you want to see more building, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. But yes, why are we building something today? Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. We want to work on the town more, and we got a little bit of a road started here, so I figure why not put a nice little house here. I don't want to do anything too big though. Like, I'm just looking for something decently small, you know what I mean? Nothing crazy. So something along these lines would be pretty good. I don't want anything massive. I'm just looking for a nice house that could be around here and can, you know, just help fill in the space a little bit more, if you will. That's kind of the goal, because we need like to get a little bit more buildings down, and I'm not sure what we're going to use this for like at all. But if you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comments. Let's go ahead and dive right on into it here. And even if we don't use it for anything, that's totally fine. Like, we really don't have to use it for anything. We can just build a building just to build one, you know what I mean? So it'll be okay. Let's go ahead and get started. This plank texture, though, is a pretty interesting texture, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I like it more or less than the new one, but the texture changes are certainly pretty cool. And honestly, that's what we're going to talk about today, is a little bit of these texture pack changes and my knowledge on it. Okay, so the textures look pretty good in my opinion overall. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know a ton of information about the textures, like as far as like the specifics of who made them. Like, I know that at least for the Java edition, a guy Jasper was working on them, and he created some really awesome ones. I'm pretty sure it's the same guy and a team who's working on these, but I could totally be wrong, so I don't want to go ahead and say it's him 100% and then be wrong, but I believe it is, to my knowledge, but I could be wrong. So don't, like, you know, don't trust me on that one, okay? I might be fibbing a little bit. I'm not really sure, but there's a lot of texture changes that are coming out. And why are these texture changes happening? To my knowledge, and from what it appears to be, it's that they kind of want, and they being Mojang, they kind of want the game to have a more unified look as far as all the different textures go, because previously, like, some of the textures didn't really fit together that well as far as design goes. Like, the textures like looked a little bit different and they didn't really like match. Also, we're gonna go ahead and try to use diorite for the floor, because it's a pretty interesting block texture, and this is definitely one I like a lot. But yeah, supposedly some of the textures didn't really match together, so they thought, why not redesign them all? And honestly, I think it's a good change to kind of get all the textures to have a unified look. I think that's actually a good, smart thing to do. And there's also a lot of things that I really like about the new textures, like for instance the glass panes, being able to see out of them way more effectively, or the cobblestone texture looks a whole lot better, and leaves look amazing. There's just so many good textures that they added that I really don't think we can complain too much about this. Now, the thing I guess you could argue is, well, a lot of like previous builds are gonna get like ruined because, you know, maybe the textures won't match anymore or whatever, but to be fair, I think it gives you an excuse to kind of go into your world and either fix them up and, like, you know, rebuild and recreate things and like just upgrade it all, or you don't really have to worry about it, you know what I mean? Like, if you're past that build, you don't have to. Plus, I mean, you know, there'll be ways to use the old textures if you really want to, but I just think it's worth using the new textures, and we're gonna go ahead and give them a go throughout Guild SMP, just because I want to kind of get used to them a little bit more, because I definitely think they're overall pretty awesome. Well, let's get the windows in here. We only have 3 glass panes left, so this back window is gonna be tiny. This back window is gonna be tiny. Literally, it's gonna be this big. There we go. All right, so the back window is very small, but that's okay. No big deal. And then yes, we're gonna get a door. The door texture is actually pretty new too, but like, I mean, look at this leaf texture. Like, you can't even tell me that doesn't look awesome. Okay, like, it just does. Okay, you can't even try to tell me it doesn't look awesome. Like, I disagree with you. It's awesome. All right, we can't sleep because it's not nighttime. We have to get a door. Do we have doors anywhere? We don't have doors anywhere. You know what, let's just craft a door. It's not that end of the world. It's not a big deal. And then what do we want to use for the roof? Are we using cobblestone? Yeah, we're probably using cobblestone. I'm pretty sure we're gonna just have to go for a cobble roof for now. At least it's kind of the only thing we've really been building roofs out of in the city here. But yes, so the textures overall are quite good. Now I'm sure there are a few minor changes that I would love tweaked. Like, personally, this gravel texture, in my opinion, I'm not sure if it's ideally the one that I personally like, but then again, it is just my opinion and everybody can have their own. But I myself feel like this gravel texture might not be the best. I mean, I feel like with a little tweaking it could be better, but I just feel like it doesn't really blend well as well as it used to with other materials, essentially. So I don't know, but I think something could be worked on that, and then maybe it'll be a little bit better. But of course, it's kind of not really up to me what gets changed, and obviously it shouldn't be, because I don't think I'm knowledgeable enough about, like, you know, the game and how people want textures to look as a community for me to really justifyingly give a defining answer as to what's the right approach, because there's not really one right approach here. There's a lot of things that you have to take into consideration when, you know, you're redesigning textures that players are like used to and familiar with. But new textures are going to be pretty cool when they come out fully and, like, you know, are released forever, and they're just like the new standard. I think they'll take a little bit of getting used to, but I'm sure the community can adapt and get used to them, like, over time. Like, it's definitely a doable thing. Like, let's be honest. Okay, we'll get used to the new textures and they'll be pretty awesome once you get used to them, and then, you know, you'll figure it all out. But I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Like, what do you think about the new textures? Like, I know my opinion's a little like all over the place, because again, I don't know too much about the textures, but from what I know, I personally like the way most of them look. But there's a few that I think could use some touch up or refinement, because they're almost like either, I don't know if the right word is like too smooth. I think that'd be a decent way to describe it, because it seems like all the textures are kind of like unified in a way. They're like slightly smoothed a little more, and some just appear a little too smooth for my taste personally. And so because of that, some of them don't look the greatest, but there are a lot that I really love in the pack, and I have of course seen all the other ones. And then also even like little changes like to the tools, like how the sword looks a little bit different now. Like, I personally like it. It's a very small change, but the little noticeable factors like that make a huge difference in the end, in my opinion, for like a game, especially when your textures are only like, you know, they're very small. We're not using like 1000-bit textures. We're using like very, very simplistic textures generally. So changing even like 1 pixel really affects the whole look of the sword or of the block or whatever. But some of the blocks look incredibly good smooth, like for instance this cobblestone texture. Woo! Oh my goodness, I love it. It is just so good. But overall, I gotta give a round of applause to the people who are working on this pack. I hope that we continue to see some improvements, of course, and we see some community discussion about this, because I think that's really the most important thing about this. Is even if my opinion's not the ones that get added or changed or whatever, I think it's most important that we get the community involved here, and we let everybody kind of share their thoughts and share their feedback in a constructive manner. That's the most important critical detail right there, everybody. Constructive manner. If you don't like a texture, that's fine, but you have to explain why and what you think should be changed. You can't just say, oh, this texture sucks, and expect a change. That just doesn't work. You need to be constructive. That's a critical life skill, especially when you're trying to drive for change. You just need to be able to communicate your thoughts. It's honestly a pretty good life skill to have. So if you're gonna go ahead and give any feedback to anybody, make sure it's constructive feedback and constructive criticism, as opposed to just flat out criticism, because criticism won't drive any results in this situation, whereas constructive criticism, you know, maybe they'll listen to you and they'll take your thoughts into account. It just works better, of course. Okay, obviously being nice will go a long way in this situation, so be constructive, you know, don't flat out be mean to anybody. And of course, overall, that is the house right here. Mission accomplished. I just need to fix the roof that I put a hole in somewhere. I'm not really sure where it is. Right there. Okay, good stuff. But yes, the texture changes have been pretty interesting. But if you guys enjoyed this episode of Guild SMP and you want to see more where I work on my city and do other cool multiplayer things, then make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in another one. Okay, goodbye, everybody.